Special Counsel Jack Smith throws a Hail Mary. Did you know, if you're an American, that you are sending $5,000 Visa gift cards to illegal aliens? And how do you feel about sending your sons and daughters overseas to fight Russia? Stay tuned, everybody. For the best meat you have ever eaten in your life, go to samsbutchershop.com. Enter the coupon code TTT when you check out for a 10% discount. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. This is Trailer Trash Tim. It's great to have you here on a really chilly Tuesday morning down here in Alabama. It's cold. It ain't Minnesota cold, but it's cold, like 29 degrees cold. I'm sitting out here in my camper, my little rolling studio. And, of course, I'm not hooked up to anything. So I brought this little space heater here and plugged it up. It's sitting down between my legs right now, but otherwise it's really cold. I got a ton of stuff to cover today, so let's get right to it. I'm not going to get to everything because I can't keep you here all day long. I know you got lives too, but let's do what we can. Let's start with this of necessity, I believe. Jack Smith is, of course, a special counsel who's spearheading one of these frivolous lawsuits against Trump. His specifically deals with all the J6 nonsense. But this article appeared in the Gateway Pundit. Hang with me here and let me update you on what's happening. Special counsel Jack Smith on Monday, yesterday, asked the Supreme Court to weigh in on Trump's immunity claims. In September, Trump was hit with 4 counts in Jack Smith's January the 6th case up in D.C. Conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of and attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, and conspiracy against rights. Jack Smith is fighting to keep the March 4th date one day before Super Tuesday in his January 6th case against Trump in D.C. Trump's lawyers argued that Trump is immune from federal prosecution for alleged crimes committed while he served as U.S. president. So Monday, yesterday, Jack Smith skipped over the appellate court and went straight to the U.S. Supreme Court. So the questions presented are whether a former president is absolutely immune from federal prosecution for crimes committed while in office, or is constitutionally protected from federal prosecution when he has been impeached but not convicted. That's key. Before the criminal proceedings began. Smith wrote, this rogue, corrupt man wrote this case presents a fundamental question at the heart of our democracy. It's not a democracy. Whether a former president is absolutely immune from federal prosecution for crimes committed while in office, he wrote in his Monday filing. Now then, guess who weighed in on this? I don't know how many of you are aware of Jonathan Turley. Jonathan Turley is an interesting man. He is a constitutional scholar. He's also a Democrat. Why he is a Democrat, I have no idea, because he is constantly coming out in media in opposition to so many of the things that that his party is doing. He doesn't sound like a Democrat. He doesn't write like a Democrat. But Jonathan Turley is explaining what's happening here with special counsel Jack Smith, and he writes this. He wrote this on his Twitter page. Special counsel Jack Smith is now seeking to leapfrog the appellate court and ask for a ruling from the Supreme Court on Trump's immunity claims. The only reason for this petition is to seek guarantee of trial. Guarantee is to seek to guarantee a trial of Trump and possible conviction before the election. That's exactly what it is. He continues, the matter is currently before the D.C. Circuit Court, which is viewed as a favorable court for Smith. However, Smith is trying to avoid any delay in the March trial date set to begin the day before Super Tuesday. The Supreme Court, he continues, may not view a trial of Trump during the campaign to be as motivating or urgent as does Smith. This is a novel legal argument that the court would ordinarily prefer to hear the views from the appellate judges. So what's happening here? Trump calls this a Hail Mary by Jack Smith, and he is exactly right. And Turley, Jonathan Turley, the constitutional scholar and Democrat, absolutely nails it. What's happening is Jack Smith does not want this trial to get bogged down in the circuit courts. That's why he's going to the Supreme Court, because he is doing everything in his power to get a conviction of Trump before the primaries. In other words, he's doing all he can possibly do to keep Trump from assuming office again. Just like so many of Trump's enemies, so many other Democrats, and so many of these other courts that are involved in these various bogus and frivolous proceedings against Trump. Make no mistake about it. The ultimate goal is to keep Trump out of office. And so that's what Jack Smith is doing by going to the Supreme Court. It's not like he's not going to get his way with the circuit court, but he's throwing a Hail Mary just like Trump says, because he needs action now. I mean, he may get what he wants with the circuit court. The problem is he wants it now. He doesn't want to wait anymore, because if we wait too long, Trump might win in the March primary. Why do you think they scheduled this trial date the day before Super Tuesday? These people are God, they're just so evil. They're so corrupt. They're so cunning. But I hope and pray all their plans come to naught, to absolute, just to oblivion. But Jonathan Turley explains exactly what's going on. The whole reason Jack Smith is doing this is to simply get a conviction of Trump before Super Tuesday, and of course the general election next November. That's all. That's what they're trying to do, folks. They're simply desperate to keep Trump out of the White House. That's what it's all about. That's why they're throwing up all these frivolous lawsuits, the real estate nonsense, and the over-evaluation of properties such as Mar-a-Lago in Judge Engoron's court. It's all such bullshit. It's all bogus. They are desperate. They're throwing everything they can at the wall to see if anything will stick, just so they can keep Trump out of the White House again. That's all it is. That's all it is. And may their plans fail spectacularly. Let's move on to our next story. I got so much to talk about. Like I said, I don't think I can get to it, but we got to get to this. Listen to this. This was in Newsweek. I got to get a little sip of coffee, okay? Me and Mrs. Folgers, give us a little quality time. I love you. Even my coffee's getting cold. It's so cold. All right, anyway. The headline in Newsweek says this: Arizona GOP candidate says migrants given a $5,000 Visa gift card. Now, a little backstory here. They're talking about Sheriff Mark Lamb, who is the sheriff of Pinal County. I think that's how you say it, Pinal, Pinal County, Arizona. Sheriff Lamb, he's a good guy. He's a Republican, and he's running for the Senate seat currently occupied by Kirsten Sinema. He is running. He has primary opposition, namely, guess who? That would be Kari Lake. So we've got a potential big primary election here. I like Kari Lake a lot. I also like Mark Lamb a lot. So who you would pull the chain for, I'm not sure, but I like Mark Lamb a lot. But this is what this is what the article in Newsweek is saying, and to fill in the blanks here, Mark Lamb, Pinal County Sheriff, Pinal County, Arizona, who is running for the U.S. Senate as a Republican, says he has learned that migrants crossing the border were being given $5,000 Visa gift cards. This is what Sheriff Lamb said. First of all, let's make a correction from Newsweek. These are not migrants, folks. They are migrating. That is true. But these are illegal aliens. These are criminals breaking federal law by crossing into the border illegally. But this is what Sheriff Lamb said in a video on his Twitter page. Quote, when these folks come across and they're processed, they're being given a cell phone, get this, a plane ticket to anywhere they want to go in the United States, and a $5,000 Visa gift card. You got that? These illegal aliens come across the border. They're being given a plane ticket to anywhere they want to go in the United States. They're being given, what else? The plane ticket, a cell phone. They're being given a cell phone and a $5,000 Visa gift card. Now, of course, as you might expect, federal agencies, as noted in the Newsweek article, are denying that this is happening. Where did Sheriff Lamb get this information from? Well, according to Sheriff Lamb, who seems to me to be a decent and honorable man, from what I can gather, just, making a judgment based on appearances. Take that for whatever it's worth. Maybe you've seen him and you can tell me how you feel about him. But according to Sheriff Lamb, he is getting his information from agents on the border who are actually dealing with these people. So my question for you, my dear subscriber, is simply this. Who do you believe? Do you believe the federal agencies of the Biden administration who are saying, no, that's not happening at all? We're not giving them plane tickets, cell phones, and $5,000 gift cards? Or do you believe Sheriff Mark Lamb and the border agents who are telling Sheriff Lamb this is what's happening at the border with these illegal aliens? Who do you believe? You believe Biden or Lamb? Joe Biden or Mark Lamb? Who do you believe? Now I will simply say this. What Sheriff Lamb is saying is certainly consistent with the behavior of the Biden government on the border. It's certainly consistent with the kind of nonsense we hear from Secretary Mayorkas when he's testifying before Congress, this man who is nothing but a bundle of lies. I would tend to believe Sheriff Lamb. It sounds, I know how unbelievable it sounds, but I also know that we get nothing but lies from the Biden administration. Now let me ask you a question. What could you do with a $5,000 Visa gift card? Now here we are less than 2 weeks away from Christmas. Let me get my Trailer Trash Tim, that's my pint glass. It's in the merchandise for sale. One of the things we got on our merch page down below. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. But I want to know, less than 2 weeks before Christmas Day, what could you do with a $5,000 Visa gift card? How much damage could you do to your Christmas list? How much of a Merry Christmas would you and your loved ones have if I just put a $5,000 Visa gift card in your hand? It'd be a pretty Merry Christmas for all of us, wouldn't it? And he notes, Sheriff Lamb notes how many people, he says Arizonans, and he's right, but it could be anybody in America. How many of them are struggling to pay their light bill or struggling to pay their car payment or their rent? How many of these American citizens could use a $5,000 gift card? What would you do if I put a $5,000 Visa gift card in your hand? We'd all have a Merry Christmas, wouldn't we? Well, how do you feel about illegal immigrants breaking our laws, coming across our border, and border agents apparently putting a $5,000 gift card in their hands, a plane ticket to anywhere you want to go, and a free cell phone? Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, right? Unbelievable what's happening down there. Now, before I get to my next story, let me go ahead and encourage you, please, to give me a thumbs up on this video. Hit that like button down below if you would, please. If you have not yet subscribed to the Trailer Trash Tim channel, please do that right now. I'd love to have you come in here and join with us. Hit that subscribe button down below. There are links down below for things such as merchandise. If you want to buy me a coffee, that's down below. PayPal, all that kind of jazz is down below. Let me continue. Oh, here we go. All right, this is huge. Now, this is actually a story I wanted to get to last week, but as I told you, I think in yesterday's video, I have been so busy, I just have not had a chance to get to it. Consequently, a lot of things have just gone uncommented upon, but this is something I've really got to get to. This is, how many of you know that the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, is vowing to send your kids, if you have kids, or your nieces or nephews or cousins, he is vowing to send your kids and relatives overseas to fight Russia. You think I'm kidding? I'm not. That's exactly what he said. This comes from Tucker Carlson on Twitter. By the way, did you know Tucker has started his own network? The Tucker Carlson Network, I think it's called. Might be hard for him to run it if he's vice president. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But anyway, listen to this. This is a direct quote from Tucker Carlson. The Biden administration is openly threatening Americans over Ukraine. In a classified briefing in the House yesterday, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin informed members that if they don't appropriate more money for Zelensky, subquote, we'll send your uncles, cousins, and sons to fight Russia, unquote and unquote, from Tucker's Twitter. Can you believe that? Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, is basically trying to hold the government hostage, or hold the taxpayers hostage, and he's saying, if you don't give Zelensky the money he needs, we're going to send your loved ones to fight Russia. Now, as I speak, Zelensky is back in Washington with his hand out, trying to get more money. The good news about this is that I believe the tide is beginning to turn. There's beginning to be less support for the Ukraine fiasco and this Nazi puppet Zelensky, and that's a good thing. But Lloyd Austin is trying to extort the taxpayer by saying, you either give this man money or we're going to send your kids, your sons, your daughters, your cousins, your nieces, your nephews, your fathers, your mothers overseas to fight Russia. Can you believe this guy? Can you believe it? Are you kidding me? So if we don't give you the money, if we don't give the money, the taxpayer money to this puppet, you're going to send us over to fight Russia? God, this guy, man, if I was president, he would be on the chopping, he'd be one of the first ones I'd relish firing. So Tucker says this. This is what Lloyd Austin is saying. Pay the oligarchs or we'll kill your kids. That's exactly what he's saying. It's like a bad kidnapping in broad open daylight. Lloyd Austin is saying, according to Tucker, who is exactly right, you give us the money or we're going to kill your kids. That's exactly what he's saying. And for what? These people are so evil, ladies and gentlemen, and they so badly want war with Russia, and I'm sitting here in Alabama asking the question, why? Why do you want to fight Russia? Why do you want a war with Russia? What has Russia done to you? I've got people that I know personally who hate Russia, and I cannot get a response out of them to save my life. And the question is simply this: why do you hate Russia? Is it because of your religious upbringing where Russia was the bad guy? Always, they had to be the great Satan? Or is it because you've got this misguided affection for the godless nation state of Israel, and you see Russia as their sworn enemy, and that's why you hate Russia? Do you hate Russia because you still hold on to the trope that it's a communist empire, and Putin is a communist, and he's KGB, and they're all evil communists, and they have to be wiped off the face of the earth? Do you still buy into that bullshit? It is a lie. There is no reason. It's all a lie. And there is no reason for Russia to be our enemy. These are good people. I know people in Russia. I know Americans who have gone to live in Russia because they got so tired of the immoral cesspool of the West, and they said, forget it. We're going to where this is not happening, and they absolutely moved to Russia. I know people former Americans who have moved to Russia because they don't have the cesspool of immorality over there, at least to the degree we do have here. And they would ask the same question: why do you hate Russia? Why, folks, would anybody hate this country? Furthermore, if you want to hate them, but why would you want to go to war with them? This is insane. Trump agrees with what I'm saying. It is insanity to provoke Russia into a state of war. It is crazy talk. We're talking about nukes, folks. We're not talking about BB guns. And this godless degenerate Lloyd Austin is saying, you either pay up or we're going to send your kids to fight Russia. Really? The hell with you, Lloyd Austin. The hell with you. And J.D. Vance weighed in on this. God bless this man, this senator from Ohio. He was talking to Steve Bannon, and he said simply this, direct quote: these are people who would cut Social Security, throwing our grandparents into poverty so that one of Zelensky's ministers can buy a bigger yacht. Kiss my ass, it's not happening. That's a direct quote, unquote. That's what he said. That's what he told Steve Bannon. He's saying, you want us to send more money so that these corrupt Nazis of Zelensky and his ilk over there can buy a bigger yacht? Kiss my ass, it's not happening. That's what Senator Vance said. God bless that man. God bless that man. Give me your comments down below. If you're still one of these people, I really do want to hear. I'll put your comments up top. If you're one of these people who still believe that Russia is an evil empire and we need to go over there and defeat them, first of all, are you going to sign up for that? And second of all, can you rationalize your thinking to me and tell me why you believe Russia is so evil? I'd love to hear from you, but you know what? I probably won't. I never do. Never do. All right, let's move on to the last story that I've got for you today, or the last one I'm going to cover today. I got more, but I don't want to keep you here all day. I know you all have lives too. I love this story. This appeared in the, I don't know if you call, if the word is epoch or epic. It's EPOCH. Somebody help me down below. I think it's epic. The Epoch Times. This is a good publication online. And the headline is this. This is right up my wheelhouse, man. Bad news for mask wearers. Now, those of you that have been with me for a while that are subscribed to the Triple T channel know that we have two rules for anybody who wants to join our community and subscribe. Number one, you cannot be an illegal alien. You have to be a legal resident of your nation, right? And number two, you cannot wear a mask. No mask wearers are allowed to be in the Triple T community, right? Everybody knows that, right? You can't wear a mask. Why? Because stupid people wear masks. That's why. People who wear masks have bought into the propaganda that is spewed out by the Biden administration and people like little Lord Fauci, who is Gone but not forgotten. He's not really gone. He's just not in government anymore, but he's got that big fat pension, don't you know? He ought to be in prison. Bad news for mask wearers. This is in the Epoch Times. According to a new study published out of Norway, and I'll look this thing up, people who wore face masks were actually found to be more likely to contract COVID-19 versus those who did not wear face masks. You got that? Specifically, a peer-reviewed study published in the journal Epidemiology and Infection found, that's the name of the journal, found that those who were always or almost always wore masks were somewhere between 4 and 40% more likely to catch COVID-19. You can find this study on Cambridge.org, I believe, or you can go to the Epoch Times and they'll link you to it. Look for the headline, Bad News for Mask Wearers. What is this saying? It's simply saying this: masks do nothing. How do I feel about people wearing masks? I believe it's like a cult. I think it's almost like a form of political identification, because people who use their brains and know what's going on, generally speaking, those people are not mask wearers. I see it all the time, as I've told you before. It seems to be a certain demographic who are the majority of the mask wearers in the circles where I am. And by that I mean Democrats. What's a Democrat? A Democrat's a person who doesn't use their brain. That's what a Democrat is. They're lorded over by Democrats who do use their brains enough to manipulate those who don't use their brains. Masks do nothing for you. Nothing. In terms of keeping you from getting COVID. Have you noticed I'm not using my cards? I'm just saying what I'm saying. I'm saying Nazi. Saying COVID. YouTube, do whatever the hell you want to do. I don't care. That's what I got so far for today, folks. I got more, but I'm going to let you go after that. Listen, tomorrow, remember, I told you the other day, tomorrow is Weird Wednesday. We're going to cover some weird news tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for joining me on the Triple T channel. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye now.